Thank you, Ceann Comhairle, and thank you, Minister. And you know, Minister, as we all know, for decades there have been blockages to accessing birth information, and they are all gone in this legislation. And I think we need to clarify here tonight, because there's a lot of little misinformation coming from the opposition, and I think we need to sort it, because I don't think it's proper that wrong information goes out, like the mother and baby homes, where the files were sealed away, and they weren't sealed away, but this information went out, and I think that's actually wrong to give wrong information. So I need some clarity tonight, but I've also heard some things tonight that are worrying me, that are not true, and I think that's important that we get this right. The urgent need of this legislation has been recognised by all political parties, the stakeholders and professionals working in this area. And I do want to congratulate you, Minister, and your team for their work on this. And I know it was a priority for you, but it also was a priority for me. This is good legislation. We cannot risk the bill being unconstitutional. So the steps made here have had to bear that in mind. And I know Deputy Ivana Bakovic spoke about things, but also I know that you are very much aware of unconstitutional and steps that have to be taken, and we have to bear these things in mind, and I think that's important that we do that. I worked very closely with the Minister and with my colleagues on the Children's Committee on this legislation, and I did. And I can stand over this. We have an excellent Children's Committee that were hard-working, dedicated and absolutely worked to the bone, and we were delighted to do it. And it was hard for us because we listened to stories that really had us sad and upset going home, but we did it. And you know, I think, like one of the deputies from Sinn Féin said, none of the 83 recommendations were taken, were put in the. That's not true. And you know, you can't give out that wrong information. Is this what you're doing? You want to work together, but yet you're able to go out and give everybody the wrong information, and that can't happen. This comprehensive and inclusive bill provides for the full release on application of birth certificates and birth, early life care and medical information for adopted person, people who were boarded out, nursed out, subject to an illegal birth registration, or who resided in mother and baby home or county home institution as a child. I want people to have access to their information, and I encourage everyone here to support this and get it passed as quickly as possible. The access is here, and let's get it to those who seek it. And that was another thing that came up at the Children's Committee, how quick we can get access to people, to the adoptees that need it. We have had no access for adopted people, and now we have access in this legislation. Now, there may be more steps to be taken, and I do understand that can happen. And you know, some of them can be operational when we get this passed, but most of all, we must all accept this is good legislation. Amendments recommended to be taken at committee stage are amendments I will support, and I would urge you to support them too when the time comes, most especially those which relate to the illegal births. This is something I have addressed with the Minister myself, and I am heartened to see that he has taken this on board. Time is against us here. We must do all we can to progress this bill. The speed here has been what we have needed, but I will ask Minister that we apply the same speed to the redress for survivors as part of our action plan. And I am very mindful of survivors coming to me, and I work with the Minister on that, as I do in the Children's Committee. Any criticism of the bill, I really feel you are dealing with them constitutionally. The issues of succession, for example, the right to succeed to the estate to an illegal adopted parent, that is an issue being addressed. The issue of a medical practitioner also is being dealt with. If an adopted person seeks their mother's medical records to see if there was a medical issue because it is someone else's medical record, the information is only given to a nominated GP to protect the privacy of the mother. And that's also important. We also had that at the Children's Committee. It is important that the information is given, but privacy rights are respected. And I think this change strikes the balance here. GDPR comes up a lot, and that was part of the Children's Committee about information, and it is important that we note that there are different guarantees under this legislation, not there under GDPR. So there's not. While subject access requests under GDPR do play an important role in accessing information, they do not provide an effective or satisfactory legal framework for the release of identity information to those adopted. Now, we talk about data protection laws is currently tasked with providing for the release of this information, but it doesn't strike the complex balance between the right to identity and the rights to privacy, and so bespoke legislation is required. I very much welcome that baptism certs are now included, and they can be a really valuable source of information. That wasn't mentioned once in all the criticism here tonight. It wasn't mentioned once, along with information regarding illegal registration, and that is vital too. The definition of care and early life information is broadened, so more, I suppose, sources of information can be provided, and these are good changes. Things I know I asked for in pre-legislation process were given. This legislation will access them. That is what is important to me and so many in my constituency in Carlow and Kilkelly, and those who have contacted me from elsewhere. On the new agency not being set up, and that came across tonight, and the use of TUSLA and the AAI is for expediency. Time, as I said, is against us here, and we have waited already too long. Now they have legal rights. They need to have they need to have this urgency. And I'm not saying, because I spoke to the Minister about this, I'm not saying we're not looking at an agency long term, and that is something that the committee did look at. But we also know that we have to get this information now, and to get this agency set up could take months and months and months. I am asking now that we actually have a framework now which can work. And at least we can try and we will get the information out, and that to me is most urgent. I know I've discussed you with the medical cards, Minister, and I would ask that would be fast-tracked as well, because I know these supports are also important. But I just want to, because my time is very short, what I do want to ask is, in this bill there have been improvements in the information session, but necessary minimal mechanism to protect the EU and constitutional rights of parents. I know I sought clarification on this with you today, but this is where I think needs to be corrected, because I think, again, a little bit of misinformation here. And you know what? That's not right. Where a parent has indicated a no contact preference, this will be conveyed to the person applying for their birth information in a short, sensitive and user-friendly phone call, virtual or face-to-face meeting with a social worker. It is also possible to find out what other information they want. So this only applies to somebody that has got on their form no contact preference. If you were applying for your information and the mother has agreed, that is accessible. And I spoke to a lady today from a mother and baby homes, and I asked her, and a survivor, and I said, look, the concerns I said and the opposition are bringing up, I said, oh, this is not right. But I said to her, if you were to get a registered letter and you were on your own, would you be upset that your mother had said no contact preference? Or I said, would you prefer a phone call just to say, look, we are so sorry, your mother has put down no contact preference. We will offer you counselling. We will offer you support. We will be there for you. Because let me tell you, as she said to me today, if I'm in the house on my own and I got a registered letter and I have no one to talk to, no one to actually, that I know that I can actually give me information, that is not right too. So we need to find a balance here. And let me tell you, the opposition there have said stuff that is not true, and the Minister has worked really hard on this. And I've been on the Children's Committee, and I have worked like Kathleen and Ivana. But if we give out wrong information, that is not good for anyone. And just one other thing, not one of the opposition mentioned the funding of 1 million extra going to AAI and 3 million to TUSLA. Lads, are we in the position here tonight where we only want to be negative, when this can really be great legislation? All right, thank you, Councillor.